My bang bike.
Walk in, not in the back of it, but I asked
Bakar Shalom, my
"Hey, can I
bang.
use this shower?" And they were like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right."
Bakar Shalom. Excuse the camera early in the morning, but it's exactly the point. Just want to show this.
I'm gonna show them my humble tent.
I do. And my bang, if I may, look at this. This is the prophet of our nation.
In the smallest.
In the smallest tent here.
Yeah, in the smallest tent.
But I tell you what, it's the biggest tent here, if you know what I mean. My bang, let me ambush you real quick. Just want to ask you, since you been calling on the name Yah-Oh and been teaching the name Yah-Oh since what, 2017? How does it feel? How does it feel right now to see what we have here today?
It's beautiful. It's humbling. Very humbling.
Aman.
To see Yah-Oh keep his word.
Aman.
And that's what's happening.
Aman.
In the blazing forth of the sun.
Ooh-wee.
In the islands of the east.
Ooh-wee. In the islands of the east.
That's where you should be.
Aman. Shalom, my bang.
Shalom.
But us being a superpower, that's going to start here in the wilderness. We're going to slowly transform ourselves from the small little nothing entity. During the wonder years, we're going to transform into a mighty superpower. The world has to change drastically in order for us to go back to the land, right? It has to really change drastically in order for us, a bunch of Negroes, to go take back Palestine, take back Syria, and all those countries that our land entails. The world has to drastically be changed in order for us to do that. So while we're in the wilderness, you will see the world change. The world is going to be destroyed. The whole political landscape is going to be altered. It's going to be changed, and we will be the strongest nation. And that's that's how we will be able to go back and take that land with authority. We're not going to go ask for it back. We're going to go take it back, because now we will be in a position of power. And we won't go back there as beggars pleading and asking. We'll go back and say, "No, it's time for you to leave. No, just leave your car there. Just leave me the keys. I'll take that." And just, usher people out. For you to be able to do that, the world has to be significantly changed. That's why we know the wilderness is not some brief momentary stopover. It's going to last a while. And you're going to see us transform into the strongest nation in the world. The kingdom starts here with a small group. This is the first dominion. The first kingdom is here. And then we take the party to the land, and then we have a war, and then the actual kingdom that the Messiah will rule will be established, and that will last forever. The kingdom that's established here in the wilderness is just temporary. It's only for the time that we're here. And this is not where we're supposed to be forever. We're just here as a protection, to be safe from the destruction and to be able to prosper and grow. And then once we're finished incubating and we're developed enough, we leave here and we go take back our land. No, the covenant doesn't change. It's simply written on a new medium. Before it was written on stone, and now that same law is going to be written on your heart. That's the new covenant. It's not a new set of laws. It's the same laws. It's just written on a different medium now. Not just stone, but also on your heart. While we're here, the army that we build here in this wilderness, before the 144,000 actually are put on the battlefield, the army that we build here is an army of prophets who are able to summon the weather by the Ruach of Yah-Oh. That's the army that he's building now. He wants to build now is an army of men and women prophets who can prophesy and summon the weather. And he's not playing when he says, "I'm going to destroy the world and all the armies of the world with weather and natural disasters." Okay? All you need is a lightning storm. It can take out a whole airfield. But one lightning storm can take out a whole United States airfield. No planes fly. No planes get off the ground. Weather is something no army can fight against. They have no way of defending against an earthquake or a tsunami or a tornado or a lightning storm or hail with stones 75 pounds. That those types of things will destroy any man-made army, no matter how technical savvy it is, no matter what they've got. There's nothing they can do to protect themselves from that. So it's not hard to see how Yahweh can very easily hit the reset button on the world just by weather and natural disaster. How he can hit the reset button and throw the world back a few centuries. And that's what we need, because we're so far behind as a nation. This, Yahweh Shara, we are so far behind. We don't have missiles. We don't have tanks. How are we going to, level the playing field and become a superpower with nations that have all this stuff? They have to be eliminated. That's how. They have to be brought down, and they have to be neutralized. Then you level the playing field. Now we're back to fighting with spears. Okay, guess what? Guess what? You're gonna lose. We're the most athletic, we're superior, and when it comes to this hand-to-hand combat, no, you're gonna lose. You without your gadgetry, you're done. The only reason you had superiority in the first place is because you had some gadgets. That's why it only took a few of you to enslave millions of us, because you had gadgets. But the minute you take away your gadgets, it's game over. Game over. The minute you take away their projectiles and their toys, it's game over. That's how Yahweh's going to do it. That's how he's going to flip it around and make the valleys go up and the mountains come down and change everything. But we have to be somewhere where it's safe for him to do that demolition, right? Because it can't affect that. We can't be a part of that destruction, that demolition. And then when all that's done, we can leave the wilderness like kings and go back and take our land with authority and evict who's ever there, who's ever stupid enough to still be there. When we come back, kick them out. The Arabs can't do that to the Israelis because the Arabs are unfortunately outmatched. They're outgunned. The Israelis have more firepower. But if the Arabs had more firepower, they would push them into the sea. Like that's what they dreamt of doing, pushing them Jews into the sea, into the Mediterranean. They can't do that because even though the Arabs outnumber them, they're surrounded by Arab countries. The Jews have more firepower.
My goodness.
So how can we go back and take it from the Jews if all those Arabs can't take it back? They have to be destroyed. That country has to be reduced. But not. I read that scripture the other day that says we're going to pulverize nations, but not our own country to the point where there's nothing there that we can go back to. We're going to reduce it so much so that it's just weak enough for us to go back and do the rest of the cleaning up, kicking out the folks who are still there. The scripture where it says he will destroy all the weapons, or actually all the armies, is in Yeshayahu chapter 13 and 34. I think the one is just that you want is in chapter 34, where
we're talking about
get to it.
we're talking about how, some of the kids may have
The indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, so that means everybody in the world, and his fury is upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. So verse 2 is predicting the destruction of the entire world and all of the world's armies. That's going to take place during the wonder years.
And how old are you, sir?
And that has to happen in order for us to become the head again. Mom, she's right, because imagine everyone thinks that they need to just depend on processed food. You go to the grocery store, you go to the store. What happens when there's no grocery store? No pharmacy. Folks don't know how to grow food and how to heal themselves without getting, something from a prescription. It's going to be a disaster. The world has set itself up for destruction by making it so folks don't know how to do basic things. Everyone who came over on ships, OMPP, with the right bloodline. I don't care what they were called here or over in Africa. But if they came over on the ships with the right bloodline, they are Yahweh Shalom. The curse does not target a specific look. You know, whether your skin, how dark color, how black your skin, it doesn't target that. It doesn't target the language you speak. It doesn't target how you dress. It doesn't target what food you eat. It doesn't target the religion you practice, cultures. It doesn't target any of that. So you could look like anything. You could eat anything. You could talk any language. You could practice any type of religion. If you are the right bloodline, your butt was put on that ship, and you were sent overseas. That's why these Jews who are angry with us, they don't get it. They think that no, you guys never were Jews because you didn't practice this, you didn't do this, you didn't look like us, you didn't. The curse doesn't look at that. The curse looks at a bloodline, what we can't see. And bloodlines can move in and out of different phenotypes. In 2 generations, your grandchildren may not look anything like you, may not speak the same language as you, may not eat the same food as you, may practice different religions from you, but they are still your bloodline. That's what the curse is looking at. The curse doesn't care about all that other stuff, that superficial stuff that we think is so important. The curses don't look at that. What age did King Ahaz began to reign? There seems to be a mismatch. There's not a mismatch. Kings and Chronicles are recording 2 different types of data. And it's in Kings, it's usually the year that a king or a person became appointed next in line for the throne. And sometimes that could be changed, and he might be bumped back into a different position of the line of succession. So the translation in the English is confusing people. It's not the age that a king began, how old a king was when he actually began his reign. It was how old he was when he was anointed next in line. And you could be anointed at a very young age, or it could be delayed, and you could be re-anointed at a later age. And that's what you see. That's why it looks like there's a contradiction in Second Kings 8:26 and 2 Chronicles 22, but there's not. It's just the way it's translated. You know, it's funny when you talk about the laws being difficult. If you look at even their own book, the Christian Satanic Greek New Testament, if you look at 1 John 5:3, what does it say there? 1 John 5:3. This is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
Burdensome.
Even that satanic book called the Greek New Testament is telling you that none of his commandments are grievous or burdensome. If you love him, they're not. And this I don't even know how this book made it into the New Testament, because it's really, you know, it kind of contradicts everything Paul talked about. Keeping his commandments is not grievous. So then why aren't you keeping the Sabbath? Why aren't you keeping the dietary laws? Why aren't you keeping the holy days? If they're not grievous, it says right here, not grievous. What's the problem? This book is contradicting itself. On the one hand, Christ died and did away with the laws. On the other hand, no, if you love God, you keep his commandments, because his commandments are not grievous. This book speaks with split tongue. It has you confused. That's why we don't listen to it. No, get this crap out of here. We know how to please him, and we know his commandments are a joy for us to do, not grievous at all. And right now, you don't even have to do that much, because most of the laws we can't do, because there's no tabernacle. So what are you complaining about? You're complaining about honor your father and mother? You're complaining about don't steal? That's what you're complaining about? Oh, it's too hard. I don't know if I can do that. Don't commit na'af? That's too hard? What are you talking about? None of these laws right now that we are able to do are difficult. None of them. None of them. You might be able to say that when there's a tabernacle and you got to go, pick up a sheep and carry it. That might be hard. Right? You got to actually carry a sheep to the tabernacle. That might be hard. But we don't have to do that now. None of these laws that we actually have that we're able to do are hard. Anybody saying that is simply making excuses. That is simply a Christian tactic. They tell you, oh, no one can keep the law, they're too hard. Oh, okay, then we have Christ now. Whew, thank goodness. making you an enemy of the law. It turns you against the law. Makes you look at the law in a wrong way, as if it's some burden. And it's like, oh, you can't do it. It's impossible. No one can do it. If it could be done, Christ wouldn't have had to die for us. See, he died so that we didn't have to do all that stuff anymore. That makes you an enemy of the law, if you believe that. An adversary of the law. Now you're preaching against the law. And that's what Christianity has you doing. Instead of looking at the truth. And looking at the law the way Doe looked at it. Turn to Psalm 19. You can see how Doe looked at the law. Mazmur 19 tells you how he looked at it. And he looked at it in a very positive light. In verse 7, the law of Yahweh is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of Yahweh are right, rejoicing in the heart. Commandment of Yahweh is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of Yahweh is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of Yahweh are true and righteous. That's righteous altogether. That's not a man who thinks the law is a burden. That man's waking up every day. He can't wait to do another law. They are sweet to him. More to be desired are they than gold, than much fine gold, sweeter also than the honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is your servant warned, and keeping of them is great reward. That's how he looked at the law. And that's how you should look at it. You should be eager to do these laws. You should be fired up to do them, excited to do them. It should be like, you can't wait. Give me another law. Give me another one. That's how you should be. That's how you should act like it. No, we're all done today. Whoa, what are you talking about? There's no more laws? Oh, can we do one more, please? That's how you should be approaching the law. So let's close with one verse of prophecy so I can say I did it. Yeshayahu chapter 29 verse 17. So this is Yeshayahu chapter 29 and verse 17. One verse, but still very powerful. First word, hallo. Is it or ain't it gold? What's the word?
Again or moreover?
More.
More. And then might.
A little.
A little more. Mazire. Mazire is the noun. It just means very. It's almost like the same as ma'ad. So it's very. So isn't it a very little while? Washab. This is a basic stem verb, third person masculine singular, with a wa reversal. And shab is from the root shob, which means to.
And to return.
Return. Lebanon. La Carmel.
To Carmel.
Okay, what does Carmel mean?
A fruitful field.
A fruitful field. And I believe, this is just my opinion, but I think the candy caramel is coming from this word. Because the actual Mount Carmel in our land was a place where they would grow all types of dainties, sweets and whatnot. And you could take the sugar that they would grow there and other stuff and, add a little flour to it. And there you got your caramelized candy. I think that's where that word is coming from. I can't prove that, but phonetically it looks like that's the same word, caramel. Then after that we have wa ha-carmel, and the fruitful field, la yair, yachashab. The word yair means a forest, but not just any forest. It's a forest that's up in the mountains, up high. So another translation would be wooded heights. wooded heights. So these are trees up in the mountains. And then the verb Yachashab in the passive, from the root chashab, which means to think or to reckon, to consider. Yachashab is it will be reckoned, or it will be considered, or it will be esteemed is another way to translate it. So here's a very cryptic passage. A lot of folks read it. I think we've gone over it a few times, maybe in the past. But, a lot of folks read it and they just go right over it, flies right over their head. They have no idea what the heck what the prophet is saying. What is he talking about? Isn't it a little while, a very small while now, and it will turn Lebanon to a fruitful field. And the fruitful field, it will become, or it will turn to a wooded forest in the heights. Yachashab, it will be reckoned. What is he talking about? You start the clock, right, when the people are going into the wilderness.
Look at this view.
Because where do you have
in the mountains?
A Lebanon? What is, and historically or geographically, who knows what Lebanon means in the scripture? Lebanon was where you got your cedar trees. And where were these cedar trees? Just anywhere? Where did you have to go to hew down these cedar trees in Lebanon? No, when you wanted to go get a cedar tree from Lebanon, you had to go up in the mountains.
The north.
We got family all around.
That's where you had to go get them.
We're doing the Feast of Booths.
And those mountains,
Shalom.
usually, they got the name Lebanon because they were snow-capped. The mountains were snow-capped. And they still are today. The Lebanese mountains
That's what it is.
means white. Because the mountains were snow-capped. All year round, doesn't matter what season, those mountains are always white because they're covered with snow. And that's where you'd go to get the best trees. The best cedar trees were up in those snow-capped mountains. That's the biblical meaning of Lebanon. When you mention Lebanon to someone living 3,000 years ago, they thought, that's where we get our cedar trees from. That's where Solomon got his cedar trees from when he built the temple. He hired the Phoenicians to go get cedar trees and bring them down on floats down the Mediterranean Sea on floats. So the analogy, maybe it wasn't for that generation in Isaiah's time to get it, what he was talking about. They probably read that and like, I don't know what the hell this guy's talking about. It wasn't for them to get. But he's saying that Lebanon will be turned into a fruitful field. Well, you can't have a fruitful field in literal Lebanon. It's snow-capped. You can't have an abundant field growing all types of delicacies and produce in a snow-capped mountain, can you?
Nah.
But then it says the fruitful field will become a wooded forest. Well, isn't that what Lebanon is already? So this cryptic message looks like it's going in a circle. It's coming full circle. Lebanon, historical Lebanon, geographical Lebanon, is already a wooded height. It's already a place in the mountains where there's a forest where you get your trees from. But that is going to be turned into a fruitful field. And then the fruitful field will become a wooded forest. It will be reckoned a wooded forest. So this is a mystery that the prophet is trying to convey. He's trying to convey a message, but he's encrypting the message because he doesn't want everybody to understand it. He only wants a few people to get it, to crack the code and to understand what he's talking about. The prophet is putting a whole lot of message in a little phrase, a little cryptic phrase that you now have to unlock. Lebanon is a great place to get really good trees. There's good trees, but it's not a great place to grow a vineyard, a fruitful field, because there's snow on the ground, and the snow won't allow you to grow a good field. So something has to happen. That snow has to thaw, right? Or something has to change for the ground to become productive and moist, to then be able to grow a fruitful field. And when I think of snow and water melting and becoming water, sue me or whatever, crucify me if you want to, but I'm thinking wealth, resources. I'm thinking money, right? It takes money to take people from rags to riches. It takes money. But then that fruitful field, once it has those resources and once it has that water to be able to grow these great things, that fruitful field is also going to become a wooded forest. It shall be reckoned a wooded forest. Now, if you hold your finger there and turn to Yeshayahu 41, you'll see what I'm talking about. Isaiah chapter 41, verses 17 to 19, or 17 to 20, actually. When the poor and the needy seek water, and there is none, their tongue fails for thirst, I, Yahweh, will hear them. The Abayonaym of Yahushua will not forsake them. I will open rivers in high places, fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water, and the dry land springs of water. I will plant in the wilderness the cedar tree. Where do cedars come from? Lebanon. The shatat tree, the myrtle tree, the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree, the pine, the box tree. There's 7 different species of trees he's talking about planting. And that's the wooded forest. This is all symbolic of a people going from rags to riches. And it says it's going to happen in a very short while. From what starting point? From the time they get to the wilderness. Verse 20, that they may see, that they may know, and consider and understand together that the hand of Yahweh has done this, the Holy One of Yahushua hath created it. So chapter 41, verses 17 to 20 is talking about a people who go to the wilderness, and at first they're toughing it out. When they first get there, it's not all one big crystal stair. They got to tough it out. And then the waters will break forth. The fountains will open up. And he will plant in the wilderness this grove or this forest of different trees, species of trees. You are those 7 trees. Those 7 trees represent the 7 assemblies, the 7 branches of the menorah. Okay, and making the menorah means you're making the tabernacle. And making the tabernacle means you've got a lot of money all of a sudden. Out of nowhere, it seems like you've got all this money now to do the covenant, to bring the covenant back to life, to establish the covenant. Because it takes money to keep the laws. Let's not beat around the bush. The laws that he gave us require you to be wealthy. You can't do it otherwise. You can't maintain his tabernacle with all the sacrifices that he's telling you to do every day unless you are filthy rich. You need to be filthy rich in order to keep these laws. And that's what he wants you to be. He wants you to be filthy, 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 filthy rich, so that none of these laws are a burden. They're all easy to do because you have an overabundance of wealth to do them. But you don't come to the wilderness like that. You don't come to the wilderness filthy rich. You come broke. You come poor. Even me, I got money, but no, I don't have this kind of money yet. I'm technically broke compared to what I'm reading right here. What's going to happen, right? I don't care how much money you think you have. You don't have this kind of money yet. We all come here pretty much broke. And we just have to tough it out because it's only going to be a little while after we come here that the waters will break forth. And the Lebanon will be turned to a fruitful field. And the fruitful field will become a wooded forest. It will be reckoned as a wooded forest. That means glorious trees will be growing there. Upright, righteous trees majestic trees, glorious, beautiful trees, right? And all the animals of the wild will be attracted to it. That's what the Messiah was saying. He was talking about the not the mustard seed, because that's an ugly plant. He was talking about the orchid seed, which is a tiny microscopic seed. But once it grows, it becomes this beautiful blossoming tree, and all the bees, all the birds want to go nest in it and be up under its branches. That's how you're going to be transformed from being nothing to this glorious thing that everybody wants to be around now. Everybody wants to come and be under you. Because now you got money. And money changes people. Let's not lie. Money changes people. But money in the hand of a wicked person just makes them more wicked and foolish. Money in the hands of righteous people, right? Money in the hands of people who serve Yahweh and are all about keeping his commandments. That's a people worthy enough to go take back the promised land when it's time.
Get it from beginning all the way back to the seat.
And that's what that verse means in Yeshayahu 29:17. The transformation of people from rags to riches in a short amount of time after they go to the wilderness. But there's going to be there's a window of time there where it's tough. You got to tough it out. Be strong. Don't lose. Don't be afraid. Right? Those who wait on Yahweh, he will reward them. That's what that verse is talking about.
Shalom.
For the money part, if you turn to the law, if you turn to Masha, I believe it's Deuteronomy chapter 8, where he tells you that point blank. It's not even coded. He tells you very matter-of-factly in chapter 8, I think it's verse 11. No, it's chapter 8, verse 18. Someone read Thor 5, chapter 8, verse 18, which is abused.
You shall remember Yahweh, Allah, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he swore to your fathers, as it is this day.
It is he who gives you the power to get what? Wealth.
Wealth.
And what's that wealth for? That he may establish his what?
Covenant.
So Yahweh has always wanted you to be wealthy because he wants to establish his covenant. He needs you to be wealthy to do that. And that's what's going to happen here.
Oh, you done for me, yeah, yeah. For all you've done for me.
Do it again.
Oh, yeah, oh. I want to say thank you. Yeah, oh, I want to say thank you. Yeah, oh, I want to say thank you for all you done for me. Yeah, yeah, for all you done for me. Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you. Thank you for all you've done for me. Thank you, y'all. Oh, I just want to thank you. I didn't have to be here today, but I thank you. I'm standing here in that bar, and I want to say thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you, yeah, thank you for all you've done be